Enoch shoe. This used to be one of my favorite sitting spots. Still might be, but all of this is new. There was trees, there was a wall, there was a railing going all the way along. Kind of like where that railing is. And there was a wall that dropped all the way down to the water. And there was only like this level of rocks, and then these ones down below, but there were spaces and little caverns and stuff that went in. They've just leveled it all and put all these rocks just like spots everywhere. Like nothing. There's no gaps, nothing that's original that's here. It's all been gutted out. So all this stuff that was here, the city must have done this. And I think they're giving up on claiming this area as a heritage spot. Because if they're going to claim it as a heritage, well, they're stupid. If they probably still are. They're fighting with the developers in the city and blah, blah, blah. But if they had left it natural, they could have said nothing's changed since the immigrants were coming here. The only way was by boats. If it wasn't for immigrants, Toronto wouldn't be what it is. A lot of people don't know that. They built it. They built the city. Irish, especially. So yeah, man. The Irish and the Portuguese. They had trees, it had shade. It's perfect. People came down here all the time. But there's only a few spots you could sit. It was all open, right? And where the trees were, it gave constant shade everywhere if you went right up to the wall. Because there was bush that went all the way along and then trees that were coming up. So now there's no shade. There's no nothing. So people probably aren't going to sit here in the summertime. Well, people that don't care about getting fried in the sun. But before there wasn't that many people. I'd come down here and there'd be like maybe 10 people at the max. You know, and there's like 2 people, 3 people in a group. And then at nighttime, like right now, it's like after midnight, it's 1 o'clock, almost 2, I think. There'd be the drunks would be down here getting drunk, and some of the hobos and stuff would be sitting down here chilling out. So yeah, man, it's totally changed now. Oh, look at that, kind of looks like a dragon. His eye, his nose, mouth is open. See it? The big ear, it's on fire. That's cool, man. Check it out. Don't see that every day. Kind of looks like a fish. And I saw a big turtle here, man. Like 1.5 feet. At least. And he had 2 GPS chips on him. They were tracking him. So he's a special kind of turtle. They're tracking him. And I tried finding out who's got the microchips on this turtle, and I couldn't find out who it was. And it was I think it was a snapping turtle. You have to check my video, man. Punching turtle in my search. And you'll see it. And it was right down here, man. I was just chilling out and I seen this white thing going through the water. But I was like right down one level, right? I'm like, what's that white thing, man? So I go up to it and then I see it moving and the waves were splashing a lot, right? So it was really hard to see it. I thought I was just seeing stuff. And I used to pull garbage out of here, right? So I thought it was a white piece of garbage. Turns out it's this big ass turtle. So it was really cool to be able to see him. Even though I never found out who owned him. Well, not owned him, but put the chips on him to track him, take care of him. And yeah, wait a minute. There's a funnel. It's not here, because that only floods. But there's a stream that goes up, and it goes up the Humber River. The Humber River empties in here. I think it's up here more, where the bridge is. Yeah, it is. It's up where the bridge is, up here. And that's what he was looking for. But turtles, they're magnetics, and where they think their homes are and where they lay their eggs, they can do that. You can drop them anywhere in the world, and they'll find their way back. They'll even crawl on land to find their way back to a lake, if that's where they laid their eggs, let alone the ocean. But they found out, 25, 30 years ago, that the turtles were losing their natural ability to find their way home. They're slowly noticing it in all turtle species, until it became evident that it was happening with many of them within all species. And they started doing studies on them and strapping GPS to turtles and tracking them to find out how come they're not finding their way home. And people were saying it's because the magnetic north is moving and it's slowly changing, and well, that's true, but they still know where north is. They still navigate it. So if it makes sense, if it points one way and it's only shifted so many degrees, they still know the general way to get there. And once they get there, they know where they're going. Apparently not anymore. So that's what the poor guy was doing, man. He kept coming up in all the rocks. You could tell he was looking for the way to get in, or he's looking for a way to get out. I even tried grabbing him and putting him back up on a rock so he could chill out, but he kept going out. Anyways, this is cool. I hope this is filled with people this summer. Soon, everywhere. People everywhere. Someone's building these little Inukshu. That's cool. Maybe I'll build one. No, I don't want to put my back out. And maybe we'll find a wolf spider. They move so fast. Hoi! Back in my hometown, I almost wiped out my ass, stepped on that rock. She was shifty. Oh, it looks like a face too. Check it out. He's even smiling at me. I almost wiped you out, eh? I'm a shaky, shaky rock, eh? I make your foot break, eh? I make your party on the lake shore not good. Ha ha ha. Yeah. Yes, I'm gonna miss it down here. I hope it's packed full of people. Probably will be. But it's not gonna be much shade, so I can't see people sitting there roasting themselves because they get hot with all these rocks. But I came down here because there was a breeze. There's always a breeze coming in off the lake, and there was one spot where it was like a little cavern kind of area, and there was a tree that went over top, so you could sit in from the water, and the wind would be ripping around the rocks and come into the little cove. So it was like an air conditioning, man. Even when it was super hot and no wind, you'd come down here, you'd feel the breeze coming off the lake, and it would create that little vortex thing by the tree. And the tree's breathing in and putting out oxygen and cooler air, right? So it was kind of cool. But it's gone. Gandhi. Oh yeah, and there's a fish. There's a dude, man. I'd sit on one of the rocks. There was a pointy rock. It was one of the ones that went out the furthest, and I'd just sit there, right? Like my toes off like that. And I noticed this fish coming up, so I started throwing my hand like I'm pretending I'm throwing food at him, right? And he came up. So every time I'd see him, I'd do the same thing. I'd keep throwing my hand at him. And if he was way out there, you see my shadow? Well, you might not see it, but my shadow's like about 30 feet out there. I put my arm out so it creates a shadow, and wherever I'd see him just chilling out, I'd wave my arm at him so I'd get his attention, and he'd come right in, man. He'd come right in and check me out. It was a pike. And it was cool, man. Not a northern pike. He didn't have the speckles on him, right? Maybe it's a trout. Same thing. Trout, pike. People argue there's speckled trout, and that's the difference. And then normal trout. This was a normal trout.